Well, good morning. Just wanted to record a little video because someone's asking me what's wrong with him. And, well, I can tell what's wrong with him and answer the question for everybody else. So I'm going to answer that question for everyone. So, this video is for those who want to know what's wrong with them and fix it. This video is not, I repeat, this video is not for someone who doesn't want to know what's wrong with them and doesn't want to fix it, because this video will accurately describe what is wrong with you. Because this video will accurately describe what is wrong with absolutely everyone. So, unless you're prepared to find out that you're not a perfect human being, don't watch this video. Okay, you've had a chance to shut it off. So, going forward, anything that you hear that offends you is your fucking fault. Fuck you. Have you shut it off yet? Okay, let's proceed. Alright, so what's wrong with you is your fucking ego. Okay. What is ego? Ego is this. I can communicate to you, people I don't know, only through ego. See, we used to be, well, let's say like a pack of wolves is how we used to live. Let's say, you know, we're a pack of wolves living in a cave or whatever. We're a family group or a group of a bunch of people that got together and said, hey, let's fucking live together as a quote-unquote pack or as a family group, whatever. So imagine that back in the first days before we had any technology. You know, we were just figuring out fire. We hadn't even figured out the wheel yet, shit like that. So we're sitting there and we have our private little camp of our people, our tribe. They're just our people. Well, when we talk to each other in our tribe, we don't use ego. But if someone from another tribe, another camp, another pack comes to us, oh, okay, who's this? What do they want? Strangers. We got to defend ourselves. Ego is to that purpose. That's why we developed egos, to interact with those outside our intimate family group. So, communication that is not intimate is done through ego. I am communicating to you through my ego because I don't know you. So I can't communicate in intimacy because we don't have a connection. So, when you use ego, you are unable to make a connection with someone if you use just exclusively ego. There are those of us, like myself, who have no choice but to communicate through empathy, because we cannot very well ourselves communicate through empathy. And it's all we've ever known. But someone like you, with an ego, only communicates through this ego. And this ego is based on a different part of the brain, a different half, perhaps even, of the brain. Okay, there are two, maybe even three parts of our brain. Actually, there's three parts. You know, think of it as layers, like an onion or the planet. You know, it's got a core, an outer core, and a surface. Well, your surface is your ego. Your inner core is your driven subconscious, your identity. Your outer core is the in-between. So your outer core, your ego, only reacts. It only reacts. So it sees, observes, and it reacts. It is your emotions. If you have a strong emotional reaction to something, that's your ego. If you have an addiction, that's your ego. Why? Because your ego does not have access in your brain to logic and reasoning. It only has access to memory. It only has access to short-term, to what you remember, and it only has access to emotions. So your short-term memories, your memories and your emotions comprise your ego. Logic and reasoning comprise the real you, your identity, the inner core, or the outer core. The inner core is your substance and definition, who you are at the core, who you are at most. And, well, all of you are the same, just like me inside there. But this surface hides the outer core, which is your true identity. My true identity is actually a wolf. I was born into a family where my mother didn't care for me, didn't want me, so I was abandoned and left to my own emotionally. And there was a family dog, and I bonded and connected with it. So my internal connections are all naturally with canines, with dogs, with wolves. I can connect with people too. I do. I also learned how to be empathetic with people. So I am, at my core, wolf, dog, wolf. My outer core is me, what you see, human. My surface got burned in a fire. So I can like cover myself once in a while, put on some clothing on the surface and wear an ego. But most of the time it's just the naked me, which I'm not going to take off my robe and show you. We don't need to go that far. So, what's wrong with you is this outer surface is all that there is. It's all you see in the mirror. It's all anyone else sees. When you look outside of yourself, back at yourself, you see this outer surface, this ego, because you see yourself the way everyone else wants you to see. So that is what's wrong with you. Very simple. You see yourself only the way other people see you. So you see your ego. So you see that's who you are. But you don't see past that surface to the inner core, to your actual identity. You weren't born and raised as a selfish asshole, addicted to cigarettes, addicted to something else, or someone who watches porn instead of having real sex, or things like that. You are someone else. Your ego has become you. And you only see your ego, this outer surface of who you are. That's all you are, and that's all you see. So you work on trying to be a better ego. But how can you be a better ego if you're limited to emotions and memory and not logic and reasoning? You only ever want to do what feels good, even to improve yourself or protect yourself. You don't want to do what is good logically. You can't reason through because you're just this outer surface. You're just looking back at this reflection. And it may be that there is an inner you, a real identity, but it's so deeply trapped that it'll never come out. The surface has become so thick that it can't break free, and there's no holes in it. And that is you. If you lack the inner you, the real you, the inner you, has empathy. And if it doesn't, well, then there is no real you. I have the unfortunate benefit of being born and raised in a home full of people who have absolutely no empathy. These people are entirely ego. My father, my mother, my stepmother, my youngest brother, my younger brother, my older brother, my stepsister, my half-sister. None of them have empathy at all. Zero. They are entirely their ego. Is that your problem? I don't know. Is there anything below that? I don't know. I can't know until I know you in person and see past your ego. And if you don't let there be anything else, there may as well not be anything else. So why is ego your problem, and how does this manifest? Well, everything that's wrong with you is because you're ego, because you're reacting to emotions and looking back at the surface of who you are. You don't see the inner you because your ego won't let you see past yourself. So that surface is what sees and observes and sends data to the part of your brain that makes logical decisions. And if your ego won't let you do that about yourself, then how can you make logical, rational decisions about yourself? You can't. So you only ever see yourself as perfect. So, for example, when I say, one of the biggest problem, the single biggest problem with ego, why people say, oh, fucking ego, is because ego decides it's right, regardless of reality. Ego always assumes it is correct. Ego knows best. Now, let's say you're a scientist and you want to discover something. Are you ever going to discover the truth of something if you assume you're right? So let's take an example. Somebody comes up with an idea, a theory, and they believe that's how things are. For example, I don't know, the universe is, came from a big bang, or something, some theory you have. Well, if that's all you ever believe, that's all you will ever understand. You will never ever find proof otherwise. But if you go into it thinking, I think that this is explained by a big bang, but I assume I'm wrong. I mean, it can't be. It can't possibly be that simple. So I'm assuming I'm wrong, so let me go out and discover and prove myself wrong about being wrong. You see how that works? Whereas an ego, I think it's, just this big bang explosion. I assume I'm right. So I'm going to go out there and prove myself right. Well, if you're going out there to prove yourself right, all you're ever going to do is look for evidence that supports you. And you will prove yourself right. But are you right? No, you're not right. You cannot ever be right if you assume you are from the beginning. So ego can't assume it's wrong. How could something that's supposed to represent the family to the outsiders, assume it's wrong? Oh, stranger. Oh, you say we're encroaching on your territory and stealing your food? Oh, okay, I guess you're right. I'm sorry. We'll stop doing that. No, your ego has to say, fuck you. This is our fucking territory. You're the fucking one encroaching. Fuck you, get out of here. You see how that works? You see what ego is? Now imagine that outsider is your fucking spouse, your fucking life partner, your child, your mother, father, whatever, your lover, someone you care about. And you go up to that person and say, you're a fucking asshole, you're fucking encroaching on my territory. That's how you interact with that person. That's ego. Ego encapsulates you, prevents you from being anything other than just yourself. You can never ever be in a relationship. You can never ever have a partner. You can never ever do anything cooperatively, truly cooperatively, when your ego is in charge. That is your problem. Because guess what? We live on a planet of 8 billion some people. Egos. Not people. They're egos. Every single last one of them. And this world is run, of course, by egos. And you think this is okay. So, yes, this is what's wrong with you. You, Frank. You, Jim. You, Ray. You, Peter. You, Ralph. You, Edward. You, Carlos. You, Juan. You, Melissa. You, Jonathan. Whoever. This is brain damage. I can't just come up with names. Whoever the fuck you are, every single one of you watching this knows that I'm right. That this is what's wrong with you. So, if you've gotten through this because you were genuinely curious and interested, you now have the ability to fix everything that's wrong with you by simply recognizing this. Watch this video again. Listen to what I have to say. Think about it. Study it. Let your mind listen to it instead of your ego. And you can fix it. It's really simple. Just recognize your ego and stop letting it be in charge. Break the surface. Let it come through. Let yourself be intimate with someone. That's all. Fix it.